All right, everyone, welcome back. We are about to begin the Group E stage, the final stage of the group stage here at NRL. So thank you so much, everyone, for all the love that we've had today. I've been Retrophile TV, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off here and give it over to Perfect Finn to continue on the party. Glad to have you all here. Good luck to all the runners, and thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Enjoy yourselves.
Thanks so much, Retro. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Group E. My name's Finny, or Finn, or Mr. Finn to you, and I'm joined by the sweetheart of Ninja Gaiden, probably my Ninja Gaiden dad, if I'm being honest, Fabricator General. Welcome back to the booth, Fab. How are you doing this evening?
That is by far the best introduction I've ever heard.
But yeah, man, I've been having a lot of fun. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm very much looking forward to this last group, especially talking to Retrophile. We've kind of unlocked this wild card strategy. I'll be very interested to see how these runners approach this last set of races. You know, they have perfect information going in. They can see all the points. They can see everyone's averages. So be interested to see, you know, how these runners approach their strategy selection, and you know, are they going to be vying for first place? Are they happy, or are they actually shooting for second place? Very exciting. Looking forward to seeing how this group stage finishes out.
Yeah, absolutely. The last two groups really have a major advantage in that there's only 4 players running, so the point system is tighter, and then B, yeah, like you said, they have the advantage of seeing how everything played out beforehand and adjusting strategies if need be.
Yeah, I think you know, Retrophile kind of, I guess, controversially, what some people would consider a hot take, selecting Black Squall as his favorite to kind of take down this group, and I don't think it's entirely unreasonable. You know, Arcus, I think what most people would consider the GOAT of Ninja Gaiden, but Black Squall, incredibly talented dude, has been playing this game relentlessly for the past year, pretty much. You know, very, very competitive PB, familiarity with several categories. And I don't think, you know, Retrophile's selection for him as the favorite to take it down is totally unreasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. I jokingly refer to Black Squall as the machine because we do these races casually almost every single Saturday, and he shows up every single time, and he just crushes it race after race after race. He's got cold blood running through his veins for sure. I just kicked off the ready signal here, so we should be starting here momentarily.
Awesome. Be glad to see these guys get started. Here we go. I think we're pressing start, dropping into 1-1. You know, we've talked a lot about how 1-1, kind of a freebie, not a whole lot to get hung up on here. You might see a runner take an occasional bonk on, you know, one of the Stooges at the beginning, or maybe getting a lazy Tyson, which would lead to an unfortunate missed sign boost. But overall, you know, not too much can go wrong in 1-1. You're going to see most of these runners coming out at pretty comparable times. See Arcus kind of getting a late start here, but we'll have to kind of account for that moving forward.
Yeah, it looks like, just looking at the time clock there, it looked like about a 20-second delay on Arcus's start there, so we'll have to keep that in mind as this runs on.
Thanks for all the good looks, everybody.
Yeah, the West Coast, they say, is the best coast, but I guess not when it comes to internet connection speed, apparently. I'll have to put in a memo to my people.
For sure. Absolutely. So Arcus, I'm sure as everybody is aware, world record holder in this any percent category for this game, has been his first SRC submission for this game in this category was 10 years ago.
Yeah, dude is incredibly talented. You know, his record has been standing for several years now at this point. Retro Runner been chasing that kind of relentlessly for the past year. Yeah, I mean, Arcus, incredibly talented, obviously, but also, like we talked about previously, you know, he's been playing Ninja Gaiden 2. He's kind of been off Ninja Gaiden 1. You know, people have tried to get him to come back. They've said, hey, check out this new tech. Hey, look at this new strategy. This, you know, look at this time save that we didn't have previously. He's like, you know, I'm just kind of off it right now. I'm really enjoying Ninja Gaiden 2. He's been putting up, you know, really, really competitive times in that game, you know, pushing for a sub 10 at this point. I think he's less than 5 seconds away. Very cool to see him kind of be so passionate about a new title, and I'll be interested to see how that affects his gameplay here in the first Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I think we'll have a really good match here as far as the Arcus versus Black Squall, because Black Squall comparatively has 10 months playing this game, but he plays nothing but Ninja Gaiden, and so Not only that, but he has 95 races under his belt as far as his previous history goes. And if you look at the race time GG leaderboard, he's placed third with a best time of a 12:04. With those 95 races. Arcus has gotten through 16 races just in the last couple weeks with us, and he's fourth on that leaderboard now with the best time of 12:05. So as far as recent performance goes, they are very close to each other.
That's really interesting to me. It's not a statistic I was aware of, but it totally tracks. I mean, like you said, you're looking at a disparity of 80 some races, and that's gonna add up over time. Just all that time spent in the game, spent with the control in your hands, constantly practicing.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you can see your Slush Filter keeping pace with him really well. He's got a 12:06 PB on SRC. He's ran the game for about a year, and of course, Slush is best known as the sort of mad scientist of the Ninja Gaiden community. He dives into the code of all these games and figures them all out, and has created some interesting stuff recently.
Yeah, the code ninja, so to speak, the creator of some ROM hacks such as Oops All Swag Stars and things of similar nature. But yeah, Slush really knows his way around the game. When people have a question about the way something works, they're going to Slush. You think you would go to Arcus or Retro Runner, and those guys are incredibly well versed in the specifics of the game as well, but nobody really understands this game quite the way that Slush does. When you go through and assembly, you reverse engineer the code, you go through it, you understand the data on a frame by frame level. Slush has an incredibly intricate and intimate understanding of this game, and that shows in his gameplay, right? Dude's incredibly talented, and I think that's reflected in his performances.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a solid runner for sure. It looks like Black Squall took the pause strat on Butt Clinch Cliff, as it's called, and looks like he is about neck and neck with Slush Filter at this point. It's hard to know exactly. It looks like they're finishing out at 4:11 on the clock, so we'll see where Arcus finishes, and keep in mind that he's got that 20-second lag, and see how that pans out.
Sure. Yeah, Arcus going for a very safe Butt Clinch Cliff as well. Really solid Massacre kill, though. You said it was 4:11 on the clock. Let's see when Arcus finishes up here at 3:3.
Nice.
It's like right around 4:31, so he's like right on pace with them then, right? Accounting for the 20-second delay.
Exactly. He's pretty much right. They're all neck and neck at this point, it looks like.
Yeah, J-Rig's getting a little hung up here, taking a random knockback, getting a little stuck on the wall. A nice butt clinch exit, though, to seal up the end of 3-2.
So J-Rig's mainly a low percent player, which, really actually comes into play a lot in these races, because, things don't always go according to plan in these races. And a lot of times you lose Spin Slash and end up having to run at low percent. And J-Rig's will at least have that skill under his belt.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly valuable. We talked about that previously. I think it might have been me and Seamless when we were doing drawings. But yeah, I said, if I was going to craft the perfect Ninja Gaiden runner from the ground up, start him out on low percent. You don't get to taste Spin Slash until you've had at least one low percent PB,
Yep, absolutely. Looks like Squall had a little problem with that bird. He didn't get it the first time and missed the backup on it, and ended up having to use 5 of his Nimpo to spin it off. That's definitely going to affect the way he runs 4-3 here.
Yeah, he's already going to be a little bit low on Ninpo at this point. But I expect, we've talked about Squall's familiar with other categories as well. You see him kind of weave in a sword cancel here and there. So typically when you have Spin Slash in this game, if you have ammo in the tank, you jump in the air and you press attack, you're going to use the ammo, you're going to use your Spin Slash sub-weapon. But if you press down and B at the same time, you actually cancel out of that Spin Slash animation, do a normal sword attack, which saves and conserves your ammo for future usage. So you can kind of see some of these runners, when they get into hairy situations, do some really creative routing between spin slashing, sword canceling, and kind of preserving their ammo to kind of use as the situation dictates.
Exactly. All right, so it looks like Squall's screen just faded out at 6:28. So we'll add 20 seconds to that, and so it's give us a good idea of where Arcus is in comparison.
Warming up the man.
Like everybody's starting off 5-1. So it was Slush Filter and Black Squall.
Yeah, Slush is kind of very close. Ooh, getting really hung up here though. He took I think 2 hits off of the axe wheel ninja, which is quite a bit of damage. We've talked about Act 5 a lot and how it's super spooky when it comes to health and impo conservation, and not really a stage you want to start off giving away several points of health.
Yeah, absolutely. So it actually looks like Arcus may be ahead at this point, judging by that time. If we add 20 seconds of stream delay to it, I think that Arcus may be edging out Black Squall by a couple seconds here, which makes sense because I've seen Black Squall take a couple of knockbacks thus far.
Right. Yeah, Arcus had a pretty, clean run up to this point, whereas I've seen Black Squall and Slush Filter both kind of eat a knockback or get hung up on a random wall here and there. So makes sense. Arcus kind of cruising at this point.
Yeah, he definitely is. They're all making their way through 5-2, and Riggs making his way through 5-1. Almost here to finish it out. He's about halfway through that stage at this point.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how he approaches this last part of 5-1. Takes kind of an awkward boost off the bird, recognizes that he's not going to have a good pattern for a future boost, and just kind of bails out of it and says, all right, I don't want to risk anything at this point. Let's just kill this guy and move on.
Yeah, that's smart. Every hit by that bird is 3 health points, and so if it's not going to work out perfectly, then it's best just to bail out of it and be safe.
Absolutely. All right, we see Black Squall moving into what we call the SP boost. Ooh, gets a little tricked up. Let's see if it affects this boost. It doesn't.
Spin here, spin there.
Like Slush Filter hits the SP boost as well. We'll see Arcus does the safety spin. It's lucky he did because he caught a hammer as he did it. That was smart.
Yeah, then you see him do a little slash cancel there to preserve that extra Nimpo that he used. Also nails the SP boost. Really important that all 3 runners hit it. Like I said previously, it is probably the largest boost-related time save in the game. So it's really cool to see all 3 runners kind of hit it and stay neck and neck.
Slush Filter showing his knowledge of the game there, spun out all of his Nimpo and went past the exit of that final 5-3 screen. And grabbed the extra 5 Nimpo on the far right side of that screen before heading off to kill Maul. That is not a common strat that you see used.
No, absolutely not. If I'm being honest, I'm not even sure if I would have known that Nimpo's there. If I'm running low, I usually grab it from a different candle. So yeah, just having that kind of awareness or that familiarity with the game, super important for these race scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely. Squall hit that 6-2 door with 27 on the clock. We'll have to see how Arcus, where Arcus hits it. Looks like Slush Filter maybe 6 or 7 seconds behind Squall at this point.
Yeah, Riggs kind of falling a little bit further behind, unfortunately. Did miss the SP boost, got a little hung up, took a knockback from one of the birds. So gonna, kind of fall a little bit further behind, unfortunately, without being able to hit that large time save.
Yep. It looks like if the timing is correct, my math is right, it looks like Arcus is probably about 4 or 5 seconds ahead at this point.
Really interesting to me. Did you see how Slush Filter there? He didn't scroll the screen and then wall climb. He just took the green platforms on the right.
Yeah, I guess the safety strat, a lot of people call that choke, the choke wall, and maybe choosing not to take that risk.
Right, just removing that extra layer of stress.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is easy to get hung up there, but we see Black Squall, Slush Filter both hitting the exit boost. Let's see if Arcus can do the same.
Spin there. Boom. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
It looks like he makes it through.
Yeah, all runners very close. I think, like we've said, Arcus, really clean run here. I think he's going to be just a little bit ahead, but it's all going to come down to the bosses. That's kind of the name of the game of this run, honestly, especially this act in particular. And I'll be interested to see, like we've talked about, Arcus has been playing a lot of Ninja Gaiden 2. Kind of interested to see what the Jackio and Demon kills are going to look like, what strategies he adopts, what he goes for. Arcus not quite as known for a plate style Jackio kill, so I'll be interested to see how quickly he can take down these final bosses.
Yeah, in the time leading up to these NRL races, we did some casual races, and he took part in those. And one of those races that I saw, he was able to pull off a 2.5 cycle Jackio with a left side fight, and then chasing him down. He's just got an incredible mash.
Nice.
And it looks like he hasn't lost much of his skill in that department at all.
Right. Black Squall looks like a nice 3-cycle jack that was really clean, actually. Interested to see if Arcus can match. Slush opting for an
with an interesting fight.
Yeah, it looked like kind of like an aqua strat almost.
So Arcus doing the left side fight gets the 3 cycle as well. He could tell that after that second cycle, he didn't have enough damage done to Jackio in order to chase him down, and decided to go ahead and finish it off on the left side.
I'll be interested to see if Arcus kills the tail here. Yeah, I was going to say, he did this all of the knockout tournament last July. I kind of wondered if he would adopt the same strategy here, and it looks like he did.
Okay. All right, so final times are coming in now. Arcus with a 12:07, Squall with a 12:18, sorry, and Slush Filter with a 12:32.
First place. We did.
Nice. Yeah, I think Slush Filter there went for a no kill or no tail kill demon, and it was relatively clean. I think he did gain some time there, but unfortunately just a little bit too far behind, unless there's some sort of major discrepancy.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure we've got some discrepancy on Slush Filter's time on race time. We're gonna make sure we verify that with a race mod real quick, but it did look originally like it came in as a 12:32.
Yeah. Skriz, thanks for the 20.
And I like though seeing Slush go for the no tail kill. Like he recognizes, that he had some hiccups and says, "I need to get this." I like seeing that from him.
Absolutely, and like you were talking about earlier, it's absolutely a strategy here to just play it safe. And you never know what's going to happen. You may pick up a wild card spot if you can finish it off reliably.
1,500 bits.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of the talk of this group is how these runners are going to approach their strategy selection and see how it maybe lets them clinch that wild card spot. I'm interested to see. I want to verify this time because I think Black Skull and Slush Filter may have been closer than initially appeared, but we're going to confirm and get that squared away. As we see Riggs finish up the demon here with looks like a solid 13:54.
So behind Huckleberry.
Yep, everybody's in, making the new race room right now, and we will start. That's a great time from J Riggs there.
Yeah, nice solid time. Once again, kind of typically known as a low percent runner, so not as familiar maybe with the any percent category. Obviously, also, when you're going against Arcus and Black Skull, these guys, and Slush Filter, you guys have tons of hours in this game. So to see Riggs go, toe to toes with some of the best players, in the world, very impressive.
Yeah, Riggs's best race time, GG race time, was 13:31. He's got 16 races on there under his belt, and so finishing 20 seconds off his best race time is not a bad performance at all for a first race.
Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a lot of nerves associated going into your first race. Can be very stressful. So good to see that. It doesn't seem to be getting to him, and he's kind of maintaining composure and being able to put up solid performances here in front of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are really great times for a first race. This has been sort of the as you see here, transitioning over. This has been sort of the story thus far. I've been really surprised, but amazing performances out of these runners thus far in this tournament. When we do Saturday casual races, it's always the case, it seems like, that the very first race is just a complete nightmare. And, there's a bunch of 13, 14, even 15-minute times. And that has not really been the case thus far in this tournament. It seems like everyone's come in well prepared and has really executed well.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, really crazy, just taking into consideration how difficult this game is and, the variance associated with things like the global timer. It'd be really difficult to put up, 12-0x's, 12-1x's consistently. So seeing people come out here and perform, in a race scenario in front of all these people is really impressive. And it looks like we have confirmation that Slush Filter actually a 12:17, beating Black Skull by 1 second. So it looks like that no tail kill on the demon actually may have clinched him a second place finish in this first race for Group E.
Oh, incredible. Yeah, and further, I guess they're looking at it still. We've got race admins looking at it. It looks like Squall used an auto splitter, so he's actually a 12:17 as well. And so that's going to be another frame count we're probably going to have to do off stream. That's our second frame count that we're going to have to do and post results afterward.
Okay, yeah. If Squall's using an auto splitter, his time should be perfect. So
Exactly.
that means we'll have two 12-17s, and that'll be another one we'll have to confirm after the broadcast. But kind of a wild way to start out Group E here, having basically another photo finish for second place points.
Yeah, really interesting because that really throws a wrench in the predictions here because that might put Squall with a third place finish, which is just incredible. I did not see that happening.
Yeah, and it looks like we have confirmation from Group D. We had a similar situation with Grayskull and Spiker. It looks like we've done an initial frame count, and Spiker edged out Grayskull by 0.2 seconds, so 0.2 of a second for the Group D standings. Kind of going to throw maybe a little bit of wrench in Grayskull's, I guess, wild card clinch plans.
That's incredible. Yeah. I'm anxious to see where that puts him as far as the averages and overall points.
Gray Squall. Yeah, there's too many Squaw names. If we could get a little more creativity from our racers, it would be appreciated by the broadcast team.
I think I'm combining racers with their powers combined.
I've probably done it as well. I'm fairly confident, but and they're both super talented runners, so it makes sense.
Absolutely. All right. Just trying to get, we've got 3 of the 4 racers in the race room. So we're just waiting on everybody to show up and ready up. And then we'll be off to the second race here in a minute.
Yeah. So what was Arcus's time? 12:07. That tracks with me because I remember last year during the knockout event hosted by RGL TV, I think Arcus was like on the money, like I want to say like 12:04, like every time. And I'm not exaggerating, like almost every time. Dude was incredibly consistent. I mean, he's got to be far and away the most consistent Ninja Gaiden player. Regardless of, if or when the Retro Runner were to take the world record, I don't think anybody can argue that Arcus is, the most consistent player. And it's probably not particularly close. He can just pump him out like a machine, like a computer that was programmed to play the game. Very impressive watching him work.
Yeah, we noticed that last year when he ran the knockout tournament, and it was just he clearly created a race strategy to get through as fast as he could, as safely as he could, and that is just so long as he follows that strategy and that route, that gets him that consistent time, and that is a really hard time to beat. So that's a great race strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, we've harped on this a little bit, but due to the nature of the game, really difficult to post those 12:0x times consistently. So if you can kind of theory craft your way around it and just kind of guarantee you to fall somewhere in that range, I think that's a really good way to approach this kind of event.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I just gave the racers a 60-second warning. We'll be starting here in about a minute.
Fabricator Sideswipe in chat has an interesting question. He says, will there be somewhere to view these results later after the broadcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a Ninja Gaiden Discord, and I wish I could post that link. There it is. Seamless just posted that link in chat, the join NRL. If you go into that Discord, all the information about the NRL and all the results and everything like that will be posted in there.
Holy cow! And PR Punk with the huge 10 gift subs to the channel. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support.
Wow, thank you, PR Punk. All right, gave them the 30-second warning. We'll be off here momentarily.
So who do you like, I guess, between... all right, so I'm assuming that you're thinking Arcus is going to take down this group. Who do you like between Black Squall and Slush Filter moving forward in these remaining races?
To be honest with you, had you asked me before this race, I would have taken Black Squall to possibly win this group. He's just... he's capable of those low 12:0x times over and over and over again. And Arcus in previous races looked like he was still sort of de-rusting the game. And then as this week came on, he was still in there playing Ninja Gaiden 2, and I thought there'd be no way that's with Squall's consistency, I would have taken him to win this group. At this point, though, it might be any man's game at this point, to be honest.
Right. Is it unreasonable to think that Arcus puts in 8 hours a day on Ninja Gaiden 2 and then off stream is de-rusting Ninja Gaiden 1? Do you think that that's a world we live in? The guy loves the game enough to do that?
I think that's totally possible. I know there are other really good top level players who stream consistently, who do that, who put in offline practice time. I also just think, though, it's possible. Arcus has over 50,000 attempts, and he's played this game for 10 years. I'm not sure how much de-rusting you even need at that point.
That's true. It's not even really
like
rust
walking
at that point.
down the street.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So there's a big difference between de-rusting like a game you've got a couple 1,500, 2,000 attempts on versus something you've done for 10 years of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got more time in on this game than anybody else by far. It's not even close.
That being said, moving into 2-1 here, all the racers kind of looking evenly matched at this point. The first couple screens of 1-1 and 2-1, kind of not quote unquote free, but I don't think we're going to see any huge disparities here unless somebody really made a large mistake, kind of accidentally clipped through a ladder or something of that nature.
Yeah, we did see Arcus got a lazy Tyson in 1-1. He was able to work through it really quickly, though. I'd guess that's maybe a 3 or 4 second loss. He transitioned out of it incredibly fast after seeing it happen. So that will give Black Squall a little bit of a lead going in here.
Black Squall, Slush Filter, and Riggs all having nice ladder free falls there. No, frame perfect deaths like we talked about previously. J-Riggs getting a little hung up though at the beginning of the next screen.
Yeah, having trouble getting on those ladders. That can be deceptively tricky, actually. It's interesting thus far. I haven't seen. I didn't get to watch a lot of the races. I was either preparing or racing in some of them, but I haven't seen a lot of spin slash usage through 2-2. I'm curious if anybody else has used it. Looks like most of the runners opting to go ahead and use Swag Star there.
Yeah, it's a strategy I've talked about previously. I think it's fine. I think, if you want to spend the time to get down Swag Star and you're comfortable. Oh, Arcus taking a terrible God Hammer, going straight back into the pit, has to restart the last screen of 2-2. That's gonna be a really big loss, Fab.
That's a good I'd guess 20 seconds or so, somewhere between 20 or 30 seconds. The nice thing is it's not a terribly long stage, and you do get spin slash back, but you're working with a lot less Nimpo. He's got to do a lot of Nimpo management here. And you see him go into the final room with 5 Nimpo there. That's going to be a big loss.
Yeah, I mean, it is a heads-up play, though. He knew Spin Slash was still on the screen, kind of routed appropriately to be able to carry Nimpo into the final boss here in 2-3. So, I mean, nice awareness by Arcus, but yeah, I mean, you can't love that. It's going to be hard to recover from that deficit. We see him just starting 3-1. We understand there's a delay here, but I don't know that would put him, at the beginning of 3-2. I think he's still quite a ways behind at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth mentioning as well, when the top level runners play this game, they try to do it in a consistent enough fashion that they can manipulate the global timer beforehand to give them good hammers going through these stages. And the 2-2 hammer bros are some of those that, oh, wow, Riggs just taking a death on Butt Clinch Cliff.
Yeah, the game's being a little mean at the moment, but yes, please go on. Let us know a little bit more about the global timer and how the Hammer Bro RNG works.
Yeah, absolutely. So, long story short is when you go through these races, anything happens.
Oh my gosh, Slush Filter dying too. I'm so sorry, Fab. Everything's just falling apart simultaneously.
This is crazy. So far, Black Squall, the only deathless ninja on the screen now.
Yeah.
It looks like he opts to go low route there. So long story short, though, is in these races, I feel like every time I start to say this, I'm worried that somebody else is going to die. But these races mean that you really can't manipulate the global timer because you're running no resets. And so you kind of have to be prepared for those God hammers and improvising in places that you don't normally do so when you reset this game for PB attempts.
Right. You kind of have to take what the game gives you rather than like, pick and select. Oh, I hit a bad hammer. I don't want to play this anymore. The time loss is, too considerable. I'm off it, onto the next one. You don't have that luxury when you're racing. You just kind of got to see it through for better or worse. And we're kind of seeing the results of that now. This is a really, really good example. We've seen 3 runners already take deaths, early on in the run. To be interested to see how the rest of this pans out. Because honestly, between the 3 deaths and Arcus's delay, it's really hard for me to tell where anyone is. Black Squall's zooming though.
So far, he's gotten through without much problem. It looks like we're getting word back now from race mods that a preliminary frame count from that last run, Slush Filter with a 12:16.73 and Black Squall with a 12:17.39. So confirming here that Squall is actually took a 3rd place in that last run.
Right. So, I mean, Black Squall kind of, like I've said previously, is kind of on cruise control at this point, and good for him because, I don't know if he doesn't know it yet, obviously, but he needs the points.
He does. Yeah. You're right. He doesn't know. It's he's got to keep cruising here.
Mm-hmm. But like we said, he's way ahead here. We see him getting a nice bzzzt, kind of fading out of stage 4-4, looks like right around 6:30. So yeah, we'll see how that lead stacks up in comparison to the other runners as they've moved through the rest of Act 4.
So Slush Filter had a 6:37 bzzzt, as we would call it, and I'd like to see how Arcus, when he gets his bzzzt in, because I think Slush is probably quite a ways ahead of Arcus at this point, and if he finishes 2nd and Arcus finishes 3rd, we're going to have a really tight group here.
Yeah, Black Squall looks to be about 15 seconds ahead of Slush Filter based on their the times they left the end of 4-4.
Right. Yeah, so it looked like about a 7:07 for Arcus. So I think that means Slush. If we think Arcus has a 20-second delay, then that puts Slush Filter about 20 seconds ahead of Arcus.
Right. So pretty comparable differences between each of the 3 runners.
Right. And nothing that can't be made up though by any runner in particular. If anybody takes a death at almost at any point, then that lead can go away pretty quickly.
Right. Even for Riggs, if I'm being honest, we talked about previously how bad the respawn situation is in Act 6 when you're fighting the final bosses, Jakio and the Demon. And yeah, I mean, it looks like Riggs has a pretty sizable deficit to overcome at this point, but I mean, anything can happen, man. You catch a bad shrimp pattern on the Demon and you're toast, and that's a time loss that you're not really coming back from,
That's right. I mean, we've seen already just killing the tail doesn't automatically mean you have a demon death. You can still die killing the tail.
Mm-hmm. All right, Black Squall moving into the SP boost screen. This is a big boost. Let's see if he's able to get it. Nice.
Yeah, looks like Slush, just the screen behind him. Gonna safety spin his way up and he'll move into SP here. Taking a knockback from that hammer, bro.
Yeah, kind of scaring me a little bit.
He is. It looks like he chooses to respawn the army man to get the SP boost, which is smart because his health is very low. He couldn't have taken the traditional backup. There is to take a boost from the bird, which would have killed him.
Right, and we see him take a hammer there on the ledge, so going down to 1 HP to round out the last of the stage. You have to clench a little bit when you're going for that final sword